Welcome back to Lead Her Forward podcast. I am super excited to have my friend and someone I truly admire, Forbes Riley, with me today, and Dr. Forbes Riley, I might add. Forbes, thank you for being here. Super excited to have you.
Well, I just love you. I think back to the time we first met, and we should share this, but don't tell anybody else. We were glamping.
Yes.
Which, by the way...
10 plus years ago.
Oh my God, is it really that long? Yeah, they stuck us in kind of these bunk beds out with no outhouse. Like the outhouse was a mile away through the woods. And I remember the two of us were like, gosh, I'm an urban person. We don't really do this. Yes. Why don't I breakfast in bed?
Bunk beds. It's like, wait, this is supposed to be glamping, right? So, and that's funny because I was going to ask you a question. This is perfect for that because when I met you, you met the insecure, like total lack of confidence. And you were the one that kind of like beat me, slapped me to say, hey, don't say that out loud. Don't be like that. So I want to ask you because I think like you need to hear this. The viewers need to hear this. How did you get the confidence to sell $2 billion of products?
I was born that way. Oh my gosh, I was anything but. And as I've progressed in my life, I've had a chance to become a pretty big motivational speaker. And I will tell you one of the things, because of speaking, I've managed to unpack my life. So when I was little, I was 8 years old. And I was in elementary school, and they noticed that my teeth all went in different directions. I don't know if my parents didn't notice this, but they put me in braces. Now, y'all had braces, right? For a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 8 years. I had braces for 8 years. And if you're a little girl, that really messes with you. Not only braces, I had headbands, I had headgear, I had rubber bands. And then when I was 9, they bolted this thing to my mouth. And so I had to talk like this. And so for 2 years, no one could understand a single word that I said.
A palate expander.
A tongue thruster.
Oh, wow.
Because I kept licking whatever it is that I did, my teeth were literally all in different directions. And so for 2 years of my life, I couldn't talk. No one could understand a word I said. And I remember thinking that if I ever get the power to communicate again, it's a pretty heady thought, I'm going to really use it. And that's been my entire life. If you unpack how I'm an actress and a TV host and a stand-up comic, and I've done all of these things, and people are like, well, why do you do all of those things? I'm like, I'm only doing one thing. I'm communicating.
Yes.
And I'm going to continue to do that verbally because it excites me to no end. Then I got hit in the face with a baseball bat, and I broke my nose. So now I'm this little girl who can't talk with big braces and a nose that looks like somebody smacked me in the face. I'm overweight. My mom was from the Ukraine. She fed us with love. So she's 260 pounds. I'm overweight. My hair is big, fat, and frizzy. And I'm this walking night. I looked in the mirror, and you know what? Can I publicly say this? I can't stand Deana. No, seriously, because when I look at you, you look like the little girls that I idolized.
Okay, wait till you see my childhood photo before you say that.
But a little bit like Marsha Brady now, the straight blonde hair.
Definitely not.
And really pretty and the bright eyes. And that's what I'm just kidding about. I love you. But you're what I wanted to look like, and I didn't. And by the way, Marsha Brady was really pretty. So if that was the standard, I was definitely ugly. And I had that in my head. And I was rather reserved, but I was really smart. I skipped a year of high school. I skipped a year of college. And that didn't make me more popular. It just made my parents happy that I got a lot of A's. And then one day, life got really bad. And I don't even know all these stories. But my dad, who was an engineer and an inventor and a magician, these are things that I grew up very different from everyone else. I don't know a lot of people who can say their dad was a magician. And he was working on a printing press, and he slipped. And he cut off the whole front of his left hand. And he would spend 3 years in the hospital, my entire high school, was spent going to see my dad in the hospital, 15 operations. And it really, really messed with my head, my mom. We were broke, and literally broke at some point because they go through all of your savings before they'll start giving you money. And she turns to me one day and she said, kiddo, I'm really sorry. We have no money for college. That was the only thing I was looking forward to. And the crazy thing, and this set out my entire belief system, because if you say what you want out loud, you hear it, the universe hears it, people around you. And my dad's doctor turned to my mother and said, you know what, we're going to fix your daughter's nose for free. I woke up a couple of days. My mother also said, makes it worse. We don't have money for college, but there is the Miss Teenage America pageant that's coming to our hometown. They're giving out a scholarship to college. She looked at me and said, well, that's not going to work for us. Nothing like your mother saying that you're not pretty. Like it was, it's 50 years ago and I still think about it. And then my dad's doctor fixed my nose. I woke up a couple of days later and a funny thing happened. And when you see these pictures, and I should send them to you because I think you should put them in here, I looked kind of cute. with less of a nose, my eyes got bigger. My hair got, I don't know how it all happened, but I looked at that girl in the mirror and said, you know what? We're going to save our family. I got a hand-me-down bridesmaid's powder blue dress, and I won. I won Miss Teenage New York. I got to Oklahoma. I was there representing my state with Bob Hope on NBC television. And I did really well. I got a scholarship to college. And, the rest has been an interesting unpacking of all that. But I went from this ugly, awkward, little self-conscious girl. But I always knew I was made for more.
That's incredible, because if you talk just into situations that could have taken you to really just pull the covers over your head and be like, that's it. But instead, these situations for you and being the rejection, everything turns you into being more confident, more kind of like focused on making it not true, right?
Life happens for you, not to you. And I know that's a magnet that you can read on a refrigerator, but life will happen. And how you deal with it determines a lot.
Yeah.
And then I went up to college to be a lawyer. My parents scraped together whatever they could, whatever scholarship, to become a lawyer. And at the 11th hour, I got cast in the lead in a play, which I'd always wanted to be an actress.
From lawyer to actress.
Well, no, but all the same thing. I didn't want to be a lawyer. Lawyers have to study. I want to be Perry Mason. I grew up watching movies and television. Those were my friends.
Yeah.
And I can do trivia with you all day long. I would watch all the Academy Award shows. I wanted that life. I wanted a life so much different from what I had. And the operative word is I want. And I teach people that. Do you know when, and I think oh my God, we played this game in glamping, didn't we? The I want game, remember?
Oh, yes.
I'm just thinking about this.
That was torturous for me.
Right, I know. It's designed to be.
It was the okay, I answered the question, and this is what I love about you, and also it scared me back then, was that like the pushing that envelope to really like to think and delve deep and to say that, okay, I answered, what do you want? It's that simple. No, what do you, and when you ask over and over again and really like get into it, it's like you almost start out like either not admitting what you want or you just don't know what you want.
Right.
Truly. Or what's like underneath it all.
Right.
So yes, we did play that. I remember being extremely uncomfortable, but realizing, wow, that's a powerful.
It's a powerful game.
Yeah.
And that's what I do a lot of in my life now. I've been through a lot in my 65 years, and I do push people because I know that there's more. I got pushed to such a degree, and I've been through so much in my life that almost when I look back on it, I almost can't believe that it's real. And I know that we share this in common, but I raised a little boy for 12 years of his life, and he was murdered. My beautiful man, Joshua, and I were eyewitnesses to the Las Vegas shooting. My mother was held up at the house at gunpoint. I've had some crazy things in my life that if you choose to continue,
Yes.
it creates a sense of resolve in you that's hard to deny.
Right, because that's the path, right? There's two paths to choose when all that happens to you. Life is happening to me or life is happening for me.
Right.
And that's what I love and I'm excited about when we come together and everything we're going to do, because like you get to choose, right? And it really starts with you, the choice, the way you're going to look at it, the way you want to build your story out, and like, the next page, what you decide. So let me ask you, of all those events, right, that happen
For me?
to you, but for you, you took something out of it and you made a decision. Where do you think that like inner strength came from, where you just had a choice? Was it literally you felt like you had a calling on your life, like you felt like you saw yourself, like you pictured yourself on stage doing, you've done so many things.
Yeah, so if we listed out a couple of them, which is kind of interesting. So I wanted to work as an actress on Broadway. I was on Broadway with Christopher Reeve. I wanted to do soap operas. I've done 2 different soap operas. I wanted to act in movies. My very first audition, I got the lead role in Splatter University. And next month, my 28th movie is coming out called Black Creek, where I get to play the bad girl in a Western. I'm still living life at every level that you can imagine. I have 2 beautiful twins who are 22 years old. I'm in business with them. I'm in love with a beautiful man inside and outside. Literally, I created how wonderful that could be. And is it always easy? No. There were times when I pulled the covers over my head and cried a lot. But I kept thinking in my heart of hearts, at the end of the day, I want to matter. I somehow got a sense, I do think it helped that I had 2 loving parents. My parents believed in me and were my friends when nobody else was. And even though they led a very small life, my mother never wanted to leave the house. She never left the country. I couldn't wait to. When I turned 20 and I said, Mom, I love you. I graduated college. I bought this book called Europe on $20 a Day. Arthur Fromer. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see everything in here, tear out the page and come home when I have just the cover. It took me 6 months. And I went on my own. I just always had this sense, I always talk to myself too, like I'm sometimes my best friend, and I create these harebrained schemes. And again, it's like living a rom-com, okay? It totally makes sense to me that my life is like this because that's what my favorite movies are rom-coms. And when I was an actress in New York, it was kind of cute. And I would get chased around desks by agents, which I didn't understand because I was also a little prudish. My mom's like, you don't do anything until a certain age. I'm like, okay, Mom. And at some point, I couldn't find an agent to represent me. And I figured out how casting directors got the information to agents, and it was through this little thing called breakdowns. So I found a guy who delivered those. Back then, it was before electronics. I moved into his 4-story walk-up in Hell's Kitchen so that I could have access to these because I knew that if I could do this, I could get on Broadway. And I'm like, this is such a backdoor story. Then I said, okay, if I can't find an agent, I'm going to become one. What does that mean? Well, I got stationery. Remember stationery? Called Create, and I wrote CMA, Creative Management for Artists.
A long time.
Right. Creative Management for Artists. And I hired a woman named Lindsay Maxwell. And Lindsay thought Forbes Riley was simply spectacular. And she would call all day long pitching Forbes Riley because I was Lindsay Maxwell. And I was terrified. This literally sounds like a comedy movie, right? I was terrified that one day somebody was going to find out that I was my own manager. I was literally on set. I booked movies, commercials, TV shows, and then I would also have to negotiate them as Lindsay, then show up. And I remember I got into some sort of tiff with somebody, and they're like, I'm going to call your manager. I'm like, I have to go get on the phone. This is before cell phones. I have to go find a payphone and call you back. And I lived this crazy little double life for a while.
So we're like in that, like when you talk about identity, like what would you tell what would you tell our viewers? What would you tell the women like that are sitting there in their kind of being buried in their story? What would you tell them on how they could rewrite their story? Because we all are the author of our own story, right? We get to decide, right? Are you going to let somebody else pick up the pen, or are you going to pick up the pen? So with all these, because we've had similar things, the ups and downs of life, and growing up, and the way you look at yourself in the mirror. But how would you say is a way to rewrite your story?
Okay. Well, the point is, you have to rewrite your story. Mm-hmm. You and I both went through some sort of training, very different times.
Yes.
But I went through a breakthrough training, which doesn't exist anymore. It's morphed into something else. But I was 31 years old. And I was very specific-minded on what I wanted, and I wasn't very nice about it, apparently. So one of my friends calls me, and he says, my friends don't like you. I was at a party. I'm like, well, why do I care? That was my whole attitude. I wanted something finally. I knew what I wanted. And he said, well, you use people. I'm like, no, I just want to get ahead. I don't want to use people, but if you're not in show business, I don't have time for you. I'm going to...
Focused.
Yeah, see, what happened was, though, I went to this training. I now teach this. I do breakthrough healing training.
I've seen it.
Because just what you're talking about, and talk about what I was put on this earth to do and push people, we all have a story. We have our mothers, fathers. We don't have a mother. We don't have a father. We have somebody who abused us. We started somewhere. Mm-hmm. And we tend to carry this baggage. And you know who you are listening to this. We carry our baggage with us. And you ever meet somebody and they can't wait to, let me tell you all my baggage. And you're like, oh my gosh, you've got to cut this loose. Even an airline only lets you take 2 bags. Yeah. Well, I found a couple of things to be true. Number one, it's very hard to do it on your own. It helps to have a coach or someone outside of you push you. Because if you do not clean up your past, you're going to write your future the same way your past was.
Yeah, exactly.
And I literally get people to do that. I have now been doing this kind of work. And this is not what the public knows about me. I have 47,000 students, by the way, in my coaching program for pitching. And I'd love to get to that. We'll talk a little about what does it mean to pitch? How did I generate $2.5 billion? How did I do 197 infomercials? I love the way I architected my communication skills to get people to take an action.
Yes.
And I'm all about getting you to understand that pitching is a superpower. Most people think it's a horrible thing because they're like, it's like a guy with white shoes and a used car lot and khaki pants going, I can get you in a car, little lady.
Yeah, they associate it in a negative way. Yeah.
Or that person who always bugs you about their network marketing. You got to buy this. You got to buy. I now teach people to get what they want by communicating differently. Mm-hmm. So, but the whole getting rid of your past thing, here's another thing that I've learned by doing this work, is that many of us, including myself, and I didn't really know it, have been sexually molested, touched, hurt, bullied, told we're not enough. And we literally carry, oh my God, my mom said I look fat in this outfit, and you never get over it. Yeah. And you carry this whole weight with you through your entire life. If you can do techniques to cut that loose, you literally feel lighter.
It's freedom. Yeah, it's freedom.
Did you notice when you went through your breakthrough training what happened to you?
I did, and you know what's interesting is that when I went through it, they do like let's say like well they do like this the mom dad thing, right? So like talking about your childhood and your mom and dad, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get anything out of that because I love my mom and dad, and I grew up, my biggest thing is I grew up poor, right? So I grew up and I didn't like the way I dressed, and I didn't fit in there, so I was kind of embarrassed. But and my dad worked a lot, but not to what I got out of it, where I realized like my relationship with money. Because my dad used to always say, "Oh, money's the root to all evil." So anybody that had a lot of money, they were out for themselves. They're selfish. And then just seeing my mom always have to get permission to spend because she was home, my dad was working, was on a strict budget. It made me think like having a lot of money, I'd become bad. One, the way people are going to perceive me, and then two, that I'm just going to work my rear end off and just to make ends meet, because my dad they were so good, my parents, and they did so much and they couldn't make ends meet. So I had guilt when I was making more money than my dad was when he was about to retire. I had so much guilt about it and embarrassed about it and like waiting for the bottom to just fall out. So that part for me to realize that it wasn't necessarily an issue with my mom or dad. It was that
No, I get it.
It was that those childhood memories affected me. It was a belief system I held on to, and in every situation I almost sabotaged myself because of what I believed, was success or money. And so it was very eye opening for me. And
you just said one of the biggest lessons that's probably going to come out of today for everybody is that you had loving parents. It was not about that. But this set of limiting beliefs you carry with you and you then sabotage yourself. I talk to people all the time who don't want to be successful. They want to be successful. I want it. And as soon as they get there, they do something to keep them from that. That is a horrible, vicious cycle.
Yes.
And when you can break through, and you can, I literally do breakthrough trainings now once a month. I used to sell these. I used to do them probably once a month and sell them. And then I realized at one point, I said, you know what? I don't want to sell this anymore. I tucked it inside of a membership that I have. And now with the same group of people, I do this every month. We're 5 years in this training every single month. That's almost 60 breakthroughs that I've done, that I've witnessed. Life-changing, life-enhancing. You see people around you. Of all the things and the reason I'm on this planet, I've helped people who've been severely hurt. I mean, and I'm shocked by some of the things I've heard that I didn't know existed. Yeah. I didn't know that parents could be alcoholics. I had 2 normal parents that didn't really drink. I didn't know that, men came home and abused their own kids. And you don't know this when you meet somebody, all the baggage of their past, but you can start to see when they carry it with them. You see that if you're working with them, they always do this thing. It's like, why do you do that? Why do you always sabotage it or always destroy a relationship? Yeah. You're not nice to men. You're not nice to women. And it's not you now. It's not very present. It's something that's happening such a long time ago.
And you have to reprogram them, right? So,
yes.
And that's the thing that I see a lot of people that try and do that, but I've witnessed yours. I've brought people to yours. So, and you've had obviously a tremendous effect on me and influence on me. And I love like how humble you are, because I've seen what you've done for people and it is incredible. So the fact that you're so humble and I believe it's like what you do is life-changing, like you said, but also it's like changes the world. Because if people just continue, especially in like now, you see more and more people have so many, whether it's their parents or relationships, abusive relationships, or were, molested or sexually assaulted, or all the things, the horrible things that people deal with in life. If they keep going through that life, they never get to their God-given purpose, 1. Number 2, their relationships are going to be affected. If they become parents, it gets affected, and you don't break the vicious cycle.
Right.
So when I've seen what you've done with people, and I've seen that shift in them to where they can look at that little picture of themselves as a kid and kiss it and say, I love you, and stop holding on to everything, it changes. It's not just them. It has such a huge effect all over the world, because if everyone they touch is affected by the baggage that they're carrying. So I think it's just tremendous what you do. I love that, the money may follow, but when you do it, you're doing it because you're like, this person deserves to unpack that and live a fully joyful, happy life. And if I can do that for them, they're going to, I'm going to do that for them. And you welcome them into your community. And that's why you have the most raving fans, because they know your heart and they want to be part of everything you do. Because, and like my kids, I've brought my kids. I'm like, you have to follow her. You have to, because that's what we want. We want to break the cycle, and we want our kids to be better and have more, just more joy in their heart, more gratitude, and not hold on to all these, oh, I don't like the way you look, or oh, you're fat, or you're too skinny, or your hair's too this, or your eyes are too this, your teeth are crooked. Like, let go of all that and just be so confident in who they are that they can go do more impactful work like you've been doing.
I will share with you that I love doing what I do. I teach pitching right now. I've got a new pitch book coming out. I've got a new TED Talk about pitching. And I love that side because I can teach anyone how to make more money, communicate better. That is a real service to humanity because I don't think anyone has gone through the life that I have and the success. I mean, I helped, if you think about it, I helped create the world of pitching from Fit TV, literally selling on fitness on a cable health club before QVC or HSN even started. And then infomercials happened. So you can go on YouTube and see 3 decades of me doing all of that. And now I get to teach entrepreneurs how to have more. But underneath all that has been a level of work that I don't really publicize enough. I think I have a gift. I will put myself up against Tony Robbins or anyone else who does this type of work. Number one, I'm a woman. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm a pretty badass, tough woman.
Yes,
when it comes, I will not let your spirit go. And it does talk to me. I mean, I've been doing these in grocery stores. My daughter was like, Mom, does everyone have to cry in front of you? But I will touch somebody and they'll burst out crying and tell me their rape story. And I'm like, one time we were in a chicken feed story and that's exactly what happened. And I'm like, there seems to be a little something else going on. So it'll be interesting to see in this part of my life how I embrace doing that for people just like you at home. One of my stories probably lives as one of the greatest stories that ever happened because I didn't know about all the bad things that could happen. I led a very sheltered life, apparently. Mm-hmm. And a woman comes to me and she says, Forbes, I've heard what you do. I've never been kissed. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And she has this sweet little face. And I said, what? She said, well, she was 10 years old. Her next door neighbor set her up, waited for the parents to go away. She stayed at their house. And she had 12 men downstairs. He had 12 men who raped her ritualistically all night long.
God, I can't.
And this little girl, it shattered her. And in the span of a half hour, I did what I do. And she looked at me and said, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to be like you and Joshua.
Oh.
And she's been one of my closest students and friends because I've watched her transition out of all of that hatred, anger, confusion, and turn it around. And I can't tell you what the technique is, but it works.
Yeah.
And then the technique decided to tap me on the shoulder. So I recently was in a really bad car accident. My family and I were in Iceland. We were on a bus after snowmobiling on a glacier.
Oh my God, I saw the pictures and I was like.
Well, I'll send you some photos of that. Yeah, so the bus skidded off the road, went flying, crashed down on my side of the bus. There are people who go through that and don't survive. My face went through the glass. I'm on the street. And here's the crazy part of the story. I have my cheek, I have my eye, I have my brain. And we were an hour and a half away from the nearest hospital. And the PTSD was a pretty frightening thing. I ended up tearing my shoulder, but I didn't get maimed. Yeah. So I'm very grateful for that. And then the story feels like a Forbes Riley story. It feels like a rom-com movie. My husband turned to me and said, on the way home, he said, there's a bodybuilding competition in our hometown in 3 months from now. And I'm like, good for you. He said, yeah, I need to compete in this to get he's a Mr. Olympia. He's a Mr. Arnold. He's like an award-winning 7-time world champion bodybuilder. I want nothing to do with that. In fact, for the last 5 years since COVID, I've been sitting, building my company, building my online coaching, getting a little wider. He would go to the gym and I would go see ya. He'd come back and I'm like, the fitter he gets, the fitter I'll get. It doesn't work.
My company, not my body.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. And so, in fact, we had I don't know if you've done this, it's a fun thing to do with Joe. The beginning of that year, last year, 2024, January, we got our fat tested. I went along, I was feeling pretty fluffy.
I did do that, but I will not share it.
Well, I will share it. He came in at 9% on the off season. I was the highest weight that I've been, short of giving birth to my twins. And I thought, well, you're in your 60s. It's okay. You're allowed to get a little bigger. And my body fat was 33%, which is not good. And my doctor said you're pre-diabetic, but I wasn't listening to any of that. Yeah. And this is a big thing for all of us women out there. Stop taking care of everyone else. Put your own mask on first. Yeah. And so I said, and then he said this, he has to be in the bodybuilding competition. Then he said, there's a category for women over 60. I said, good for them. And then I heard this little voice and we talk about spirit, God, universe, whatever it is, that said, go for it. I'm like, go for what? I don't even own a bikini. I haven't owned a bikini, and I'll share a story, what happened when I was 15 years old. And then I took a picture of me and I look in the mirror and I'll send you the picture. You guys all look at it. And I looked like a really flabby old lady. And I'm like, oh, when did that happen? And something inside of me said, go for it. And I got on my mastermind the next night. I've got a couple hundred people who show up every Wednesday. And I said, guys, in 99 days, I'm going to enter a bodybuilding competition. Pray for me. Wish me luck, because I don't have any idea what I'm going to do. And then for 99 days, I ate the way he ate. I ate almost only meat. We did carnivore diet. I took his fitness program. He did not train me, by the way, but he's built an amazing program. I went to the gym 2 hours every day. Prior to that accident, I didn't have 2 hours.
Oh my
I didn't really have any desire to get up at 5 in the morning. 5 to 7, that's my beauty sleep. Well, now I'm at the gym at 5 to 7, sometimes twice a day. I close the gym at 10 o'clock at night. I'm like the last one there. They're turning the lights out. And I made this, I said, you know what, you're going to go for it. And that's all I knew. This is success, by the way, is finding a great mentor that you believe in and listening to everything that they say or do. I live with a world champion. Now, here's what got frustrating. 3 weeks into this, I am cranking. I'm still got this PTSD thing, but I'm going to go for this. And I step on the scale, and it's the same freaking weight it was 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, now the old me at that moment, because I've been on lots of diets in my life, would have given up, would have said, So I went and got my fat tested. And the funniest thing is, the weight was the same, but I had put on muscle, and I'd already lost at that point about 8% body fat.
Right, because muscle weighs more than fat.
I know that intellectually, but I was looking at the scale, and that renewed me. And then we've got a dear friend who lent me her bikini. She was in a bikini competition at 49. I put the bikini on, and I couldn't get it on at all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to break her bikini, her little sequin bikini. And I just kept going every day to the gym. And I will tell you what, at the end of that journey, I lost 35 pounds, 15% body fat. I got on stage and I got a medal.
I was there.
I know you were there. You came and you showed up.
I was like, do I have to move in with Forbes and Joshua for 99 days and let him, because I've never been big into working out. I've always been fit. I move around a lot. I'm active. I've never been the worst eater in the world, but I've never been like a gym rat. And I want that obsession. Because even at our age, right? You have to build muscle. You have to.
Yes.
It's not just about I see friends doing cardio. And it's you have to build muscle, especially for women. So, and I keep telling Joe's you just got to do Joshua's thing. He's I've worked out my whole life. And I know what I'm doing. And you see my husband, he's fit. Yep. But he's but I've been doing so much wrong. And then Joshua shows you how to really use the muscles. And so I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there because honestly, I feel all women have to. Don't look at the scale, because sometimes you're in better shape at the same, whether it's, 130, 150 pounds, but look at the body weight, because the body, the fat, and all that other stuff. Because I did that recently, and I was very discouraged when I saw my body fat count. So I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? I got to call Joshua.
Oh, you're going to have to tell me what it is.
Yeah. I don't remember. I thought it was in the 20s, but now I'm thinking maybe it wasn't. But I'll get it. I
got down to 19%, and for me, that was amazing. The other thing that happens when you get fitter, you feel better. Yeah. But it is all about building muscle. There's a beautiful TED Talk going on by Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, and she talks that we don't have an obesity problem, we have a lack of muscle problem. And I get to live with a world champion, and I've seen what he did. I never wanted to do it before. And so I just wrote a new book. It's not come out yet, called Flip the Switch.
Oh, I love
How do you make a decision this quickly that is that impactful? Because everything, you make a decision, and if you're half-hearted, you're good for a week. You're good for a resolution for January, and then by February, you're done.
That's right.
But when you flip the switch, literally, there's no going back. Yeah. And I'm sure you can remember a time in your life when you flipped the switch.
Yeah, because it's lifestyle then, right?
No, but even you decide to go public. When you flip that switch, there's no going back.
You're going to take the island, burn the boats. So when you make the decision, which is what you did, you made the decision, and then it was now you got to go.
So here's a couple of secrets to that. If you want to do something, so get back to the I want. One, we play this game called What Do You Want? What do you want? And if you ask enough, you stop with the kind of the baloney things that you want, and you get down to what really matters. And you can hear a change in somebody's voice, because you forget some of the things that you said you wanted. When I played that game for the first time, something came out of me that I did not expect. All of a sudden, we do the game for 5 minutes, and you're exhausted going, what do I want? I want this. I want love. I want...
Yeah.
And then I said, I want for someone to tell me every day that I inspire them. And then I looked around, and I'm like, who said that? Yeah. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Do you know that's become the mantra for my life? I work so hard because my soul needs this for every day, for someone like you or someone I speak in front of or a student to say, you changed my life. You inspired me. Thank you.
That's fulfillment for sure.
It really was. And I wrote that script on my own, and I've been living that script. So a couple of things have come out of today. So if you say you want something, decide what it is. Decide what happens if you don't get it. Because most people don't care. You want to lose 5 pounds. Who cares if you gain 15? Who cares? But if you said, look, I'm going to go on stage in a bikini and bare my entire body and worry about being embarrassed, everything changes when you've got a deadline. And I watched Joshua do that. He trains a lot harder when he knows there's a competition date.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. What is it that you want? And what are you willing to do to get it? And what happens if you don't get it?
And that's so true, because it's like you can want something, but do you really want it that bad? Because if you want to build a successful company, but yet you're like not waking up, in the morning, you're sleeping in, or you leave work early because you've had it for the day or whatever, like you're not going to get there. You have to sacrifice. Something's got to bleed at any given time, right? You have to.
This building's on fire.
Yeah.
We're not talking about saving our cell phones. You're out of there.
Yeah.
It's not like you make it because you made a decision. I'm saving my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you just decide if it's worth it to you. So
I'm going to segue into this because this is really important. So when we're speaking and doing what we do, right? So we do different things, but we do similar things, right? Hopefully in the impact and the inspiration that we're doing. But you can be told, I'm sure, right? Because you are like personality and you have that pitch down. So when you speak, people listen. What would you say to people who are like shy of the camera, maybe they're holding back and they're being told they're too much, right? Because I know for me who hid growing up, like I hid in the back of the classroom. It's like, oh my God, they're calling on me. Don't let the teacher call on me or whatever. And then all of a sudden you start talking, you start sharing, and you start like your personality opens up like you're a kid again. You're talking, you're funny, and then you get told, oh, they're too much. And then all of a sudden it's like a turtle. Your head goes back in the shell and you're like, okay, this is why I didn't speak up.
my question is, who told you that though?
Right. Well, I mean, I've been told that, but
no,
like,
wait a second. We've all been told this. I want to stop right there for a second because my new process is if somebody tells you something that you don't want to hear, they're not as good as you. They haven't done, and people will do that. Relatives will say, oh, who do you think you are to start a business? Or you're not pretty enough, or you're not that, or your sister puts you down. Let me tell you something. People who are further ahead of you will never say that to you.
Right.
So all of a sudden you got to step back and go, wait a second. And before we leave that consequence thing, I was sitting with a woman the other day and she's about 100 pounds overweight. Again, I don't judge people, but she said to me at lunch, she said, I want to lose 100 pounds. And this is so funny. Like my spirit guide goes, you going to help her? And I'm like, I just want to have your lunch. Leave me alone. And I said, how bad do you want it? I said, if I gave you $500,000, would you lose the weight? And she looked at me and said, no, that wouldn't be a driver for me. I said, okay. We were at an event with a very strong woman, not unlike you. And I said, all right, how long do you think it'll take you? She said, about a year. I said, you really want this? And I made her say, yeah. I said, here's what we're going to do. You're going to go home tonight. We were in Mexico. And you're going to take a picture in your bra and panties. And you're going to send it to Misty, who was the coordinator of this event that we were at. And you're going to tell her that in a year, if you don't lose that 100 pounds, she has to publish it online.
Oh, wow. That's so motivating.
See that energy?
Yeah.
Well, here's what's so beautiful about this. She comes home, she takes the picture, kind of reluctantly, but she's like, all right. She gives it to Misty, and Misty looks at her and says, you better do this. I don't want to put this picture of you up. I'm going to become your biggest advocate. We're going to do this because I don't want to be that person who makes you look bad. She's 31 pounds lighter.
Oh, wow.
It's been 3 months. So pick a consequence that requires you to do this.
Something that truly drives you. That's why when you got to be so intentional when you're saying like the goals you want to have and why you want to have it. Because if the why is not strong behind it, you're not going to do it. Because it's just another thing, another, unwritten dream or goal you had that gets thrown away.
All right, let me do a little teaching here, because let's assume that you're someone like you just mentioned who is not sure of the personality. I'm going to say it comes down to the words you're using. Mm-hmm. So we all say we want something, especially in real estate. You want to make a sale, you want to enroll people. If someone asks you, what do you do, Deana, what do you say?
Right now, so we did this before. Okay,
but wait, before we say this, and play this game with me at home. What do you do? Get out a pen and a piece of paper, because this is very valuable. Write down what you think you do. We're at a party. I'm like, hey, what do you do? I blah, 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 blah. Now, look at the paper. If you said I am or I help, we got to talk, because you're never going to say that again. What do you do?
Every day I work with my team to drive revenue, to drive everything that they do in their departments so that our company that we all own becomes the outlier in this horrible market that we have. But I inspire them. I elevate them in their positions to make all their dreams come true.
I love her, but watch this. Here's what's funny. You know what you said? I'm new to you. I don't know what company you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's funny. You literally said, what you said was so sweet. And I get that you are a leader.
I'm the COO of La Rosa Holdings.
No, not even Holdings, because what is Holdings? I'm the COO of a major public real estate company.
Yeah, see, you've told me that before. See, so now you're just going to have to like do what you did last time, slap me.
No, don't slap people off camera.
Sometimes.
No, but here's what you want to do. What you said was so sweet and so beautiful, but why did you tell it to me? I'm a stranger who's just met you.
Right.
And that's too much information. Because what if I didn't ask you what you do, but what if you heard, what can you do for me? So, hey, Deana, nice to meet you. What can you do for me? What would you say?
That's a little different.
And you don't know me. What would you say?
I don't know you, and you're asking me what I can do for you. Well,
Yep.
Again, this is on just as a woman or as the COO of a public traded company.
Your choice.
What do you need me to do for you?
But it's because you're going to network. And guys, if you are out there networking, you will hear this question all the time. What do? You have a choice. Here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do a laundry list. Yeah. Well, I do so many things. Of course you do. You're a woman. Hello.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear all of them at the same time. I mean, I've been talking about pitching. I haven't talked about the fact that I'm in the National Fitness Hall of Fame and that I've sold billions of dollars of fitness products on. I don't want to tell you that because we're having this kind of an interview.
Yeah,
we're focused.
How's that going to help me?
Right. So what is it that might serve this relationship? And so if I were you, unless you're looking to recruit agents and you're in an agent party, I would play the woman card.
Right.
I'd say, you know what? As a woman who's been through a lot in my life, I'm currently the COO of a major public company, and now I'm on a mission to help other women just like you through my podcasts and my live events. Yeah. Cha-ching. Yeah. And so, and by the way, this takes training. It does.
It does.
It
Which
really
is
helps.
why what you do in your pitch is crucial. How many times have I said to you, I'm like, because I'm wordy and my New York accent, we've had all these conversations. And it's like, you gotta land it. You gotta land the plane. And so for the longest time, right, when we were talking at that Diva Glamping, it's like, I didn't want to speak at all of the Diva Glamping.
I know.
But then going to some of your events little by little, it's like coming out of the shell of saying, land the plane, what do you do? But also, and this is like something that I think is sharing, like I can share that maybe if you're listening out there, like this has come to you. So I've always done multiple things, like we talked about. So whenever like you would say that to me, I'm like, well, which part? Like, is it what I'm passionate about, or is it what I'm doing right now as a job to make money, right? And so I always was in that realm of like not having a perfect pitch. So it kept me stuck. Right. Because I didn't know what to say or how to say it or what I wanted to focus on. So I'd always be in that abyss. And that abyss, like when you don't know what to say or how to pitch, it brings you down and keeps you stuck. And that's why what I love, because I've always focused more on the business side. If I'm talking to someone, they're like, oh, I just want to build this business, but I'm like, oh, what do you want to build? Let me hear your idea. Tell me what. Tell me why you want to do it.
Right, but that's you in your element, and you're great at that.
And that's what I love. Like, build a business. Making money is not the easy part. It's like, are you dedicated? Are you dedicated? Are you going to give it all you have? But then if you have an idea and you want to build a business, like that I can help you with 10 times. And I'll help you motivate you. I'll help you give you the support, the resources, and all that. But people get stuck when they don't really know what they want or why they want what they want.
Well, but even something else you're stuck in. When you see now when you're pitching investors, you're pitching money people.
Oh, yeah.
We pitch all the time. You know when your pitch starts? I wake up in the morning, honey, would you rub my neck? That's a pitch. A pitch is designed to get a yes.
Yeah.
And if you can get yeses from people. So one of the problems in the networking world is that somebody asks you, what do you do? Look at me. If I'm not the kind of person who can hire you or enroll in you, how much time and energy are you going to spend talking to me anyway?
Yeah, true.
So say something really sweet and generic if you think that's a good way to start. That person did not ask you, what do you do, to tell you a laundry list of everything you've ever done. Right. But I've seen that happen in me. You're like, wow. Or I've seen the opposite where I just did this big networking event. Everyone got 1 minute to stand up and say hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. It's a really simple statement. And in a powerhouse room, 3 people, 2 women and 1 man, stood up and literally said, oh, I just hate talking about myself. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We need to know who you are and what you do and how to connect. We don't really care how you feel about it. And the other great thing that I love gifting people, if you're in an environment or you go to an event and they have this thing where they say, anybody have any questions? Deana, do this. Literally go, ready, 1, 2, 3. Do that. Okay. Not that way, this way. That means something completely different. Yes, I believe it. No, but seriously. So I got a question. Now, do you know that little action has gotten me more connections and more business than anything I've ever done? So what you do is you have a question. Yeah. I just did this at a big celebrity dinner. They asked, does anyone have any questions? No one raised it. I was literally the only one up there. So then I got a moment to stand up. Don't ask your question immediately. So here's how this happened. When I first moved to Tampa, Florida, I was at a screening. I built a television studio, and I was at a movie screening, and they always ask at the end of screenings, does anyone have any questions? I know that's coming. 1,000 people in the audience. As soon as they have, anybody have my hands up? Yes, you in the back. Hi, everybody. I stood up. I took the first 30 seconds to share who I am and what I'm up to in a very non-pitchy way. I didn't say, hi, I'm Forbes Riley of ForbesRiley.com. No, I didn't do that. I was like, hey, everybody, my name is Forbes Riley. I just moved here from Los Angeles. I opened a TV studio. I still love to act. And now I've got this great facility. If any of you ever need one, look me up. Hey, here's my question. The question, who cares what the question is?
Yeah, now they're like, oh, wow.
The entire audience, when I walked outside, I had a line of people giving me their business cards. I wasn't booked to speak at the event. I wasn't on the panel. I wasn't in the movie. And I'll bet you I did more business from that 30 seconds of like, oh, hi, here's who I am. But don't kid yourself. Very calculated. And that is a pitch. Yeah. How many times have people missed that opportunity?
A lot of missed opportunities.
Right.
Like, yeah, I could personally say that. Yeah, of just staying quiet in the back because I'm like,
right.
What do you say? Yeah.
That's what happened, when I went to your event last year, like, I have to get up on stage and speak. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you have so much to speak about.
I know.
So let's go back to, let's cut the ties of whatever it is when you were younger that somebody told you maybe you should be seen or not heard, or maybe you were too much, and just go, look at me now.
And so you want to laugh because we were talking about that. So about being too much. So I remember in high school, literally a moment where that I was starting to get like funny and I had personality. And my science teacher at a school that I went to, my high school, put little stickies on my back. Like, I kid you not, today that could never happen. But stickies that were weird, like, oh God, please give me hips. Because remember, when I was in high school, I looked like I was 12 when I was like 17, right? I was a late bloomer. Dolly Parton lookalike, like something else about like speaking.
Have you ever done a breakthrough on that stuff?
No, but like I laugh at it now, right? But I think about because of that moment, I talk to my kids and I'm like, okay, how are your teachers? How are your interactions? Like, because I want to know, because I would never go home and tell my parents that. And then everyone laughed it off, but I would go to the bathroom and cry.
Right.
And then come back and suck it up. And he'd like pat me on the back like he was like friendly and it was a joke. And it's like,
not a joke.
Like, do you have kids? Like, that's horrible.
Woman comes to me. She's 52 years old, CEO of a company. And she said, she was kind of like hysterical. She's like, I'm going to get fired. I'm like, oh my God, what did you do? She said, I can't speak. I can't get up in front of a crowd and do our annual reports or speak on whatever. I get my palms so nervous and I throw up. Help me. And you know what we concluded? Is that just like you, she was 7 years old in second grade, and she got up to do a book report, and she peed on herself. She got so nervous. The kids all laughed at her, and the teacher didn't come to help her. She was traumatized. You, my girl, were traumatized. Just so you know, maybe we worked that out. If that's one little... No, but here's the thing. They pop up, you're like, oh my God, I forgot I had that one little thing. Yeah. And if you get rid of all of them, you feel like you could just fly all the time. Yeah. We got rid of that. We went back. We did our little breakthrough with that. And I got to tell you, not only did she get a raise, but she got a TED Talk. And she literally dedicated this to me and said, Forbes, none of this would have happened if you hadn't helped me unlock what was so innocent, but for so long.
And you kind of, not if you forget it, but you laugh about it, but you don't realize like how it affected you. Like something like that, or even like, when, like, to this day, and my girlfriend, Gina, like, she just never lets me live this down. We were in a mall once, and we went into, like, a place, and the lady goes, oh, let me do your makeup. Because I never wore a lot of makeup. I couldn't buy makeup. And she did this whole thing on my face, and she brings the camera to me, like, the mirror. And I look and I go, oh my God, I look like I'm going to, what'd I say? It looked like I'm going to prom or something. Like, it was some like weird, and the girl looked at me like her face, and my girlfriend's like, she was like going to be a makeup artist. She had all her dreams like written down in her journal, and you just took them all down. Because I looked in the mirror and I saw all this makeup. I was like, oh my God, like I look horrible. Meanwhile, she thought I looked beautiful, or maybe even I did look beautiful, but to me, I looked horrible. So again,
she never lets
know this. What?
Oh, she doesn't let you live that down?
No, no, we laugh about it now because to this day, like when we get ready and if I'm going on stage and I have someone do my makeup and do my hair, I look like I'm playing dress up. And because I grew up not being dressed like a girl, not wearing makeup or having my mom cut my hair, like when I am dressed up and pretty, I feel like a fraud. Like I feel like, oh my God, people can be like, who is she think she is?
Do you really feel that way
And
now?
I still I still to this day a little bit, but I break through it. Right. But
oh, baby girl, I hear breakthrough off
Yeah.
camera. We're not going to do this on camera.
because I do it, I get my hair and my makeup done. I'm
Yeah.
getting on stage now. So I'm that's what I want the example to be is like you still get a little bit, the fear comes in, but I have like my 5-second rule. Like I may be nervous about, I'm doing this, I'm getting
Good for you.
But like someone asked me now to speak at their event, a big company, and
Mm-hmm.
out of nowhere, I'm like, well, I don't do that, right? I don't do speaking engagements. I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to think about it because I'm not going to give myself that time to be in fear. I'm just going to do it. And I know I will make it happen. So I am getting better at that. But to anyone out there, it's like, it may creep in, but it's like a 5-second rule. Just wash it away and let it go.
Well, but
and,
I'm going
and
to,
do
hang on.
it, because growth happens that way.
See, you can't just say that to somebody. That irks me about self-help experts. Just do it.
Well, I'm not a self-help expert.
Well, no, but you've been through breakthroughs.
Yeah.
I've been through breakthroughs. I'm going to tell you, if you have never, don't even know what that word means, you want to look up, whether it's me or anyone else, how to get through a breakthrough of your past. Because some of that's such a sweet little memory. But to this day, how old were you when that happened?
Which one?
The makeup one.
The makeup one, like a teenager, I guess.
Okay, so now we're talking maybe over 40 years, but you're still carrying that
still
memory,
think about it.
that issue, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you don't get to carry it anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because you should literally break through that. You don't need your 5-second rule. If you go back to that moment and do a breakthrough on that, everything will change a little bit.
Right, and which is why we're doing what we're doing,
Yes.
right? Because had I not been in front of you and sometimes I'm like, oh God, she's being really harsh, but you get me to the other side.
It's
or
always
going
with love.
through that leadership training I've done.
Yep.
Which is why to me that's the best education, because it's not only just an education of knowledge of how to work through things.
Yep.
It's unpacking what you think is like light when it's really like a brick.
Well, I'm going to share with you.
Because then you're aware and then you can move forward.
Did we ever do what's your first memory in life?
You did. I don't. Oh, I did. Yes, I told you what my first memory was. So this is funny because I don't. This is a picture, so I don't know that it's a.
Well, so
memory
hang on
of
for a
me.
second. I remember doing that one. Think for a second, because you're so far past that. Think of a different memory in life. And I'm going to share something while you're thinking about that with you guys at home. After the accident, I'm going through this weight loss thing, and if life happens, does happen for you, not to you. I'm on day 67. I literally chronicled every single day. I was on day 67 and Josh was like, I'm on day 4,000. I'm like, good for you. I'm on day 67. And I kept showing up. And not all the days were pretty, by the way. Well, on day 67, I'm in the gym and I start crying. I start seeing this bridge coming at my face and I'm having a weird sensation. Here's what happened. I always had a little bit of layer of fat around me. And I know I looked fine, but I was like skinny fat without muscle. And I got to a certain point, I would always sabotage myself. I could never get into the 130s. I would get there and I would do anything to sabotage it out. Well, now I'm in the 130s and I'm dealing with it. And this thing comes up and I'm not sure how to deal with it. Then what unpacked was like, oh my God. I had a memory that I completely buried. And I'm going to say, a lot of us do that to protect ourselves.
Yes.
I was 15 years old and my dad, we didn't have a lot of money, but he had a partner who had airplanes and loved to fly. And he made a promise that his daughter was going to fly before she drove a car. And so we went out and his friend of his said, hey, I'd like to take your daughter out to Montauk, to the beach. And so he's probably early 30s. I'm 15. We go out to the beach. I've got a cute little bikini under my outfit. The beach dead ends in the ocean. It's a long runway. There's nobody there. And cell phones are not going to happen for another 15 years. And he completely took full advantage of me. And there was nothing that I could do about it. We are flying back now, which is really hard. I'm sitting in the passenger side over here. He's in the pilot side. And at some point, as we're flying back, he leans over to touch me. And while he does it, he hits the yoke of the thing and the whole plane goes, mew, and there's a bridge right here, a big silver bridge. And we literally pull up. I swear you could have licked the bridge. We talk about traumatizing. We land. And my father says, so how was your afternoon? And I'm like, it was fine. I'm 15 years old. I don't know what to say. Am I going to tell my dad and he's going to kill this guy? I wanted to kill him. I get home. My mom says, how was your day? I'm like, it was fine. I went upstairs to my bedroom. I closed my door. 49 years ago, I never thought about it again. until there's a book called The Body Keeps Score. And I guess something had gotten released in me, and all of these memories came flooding back about what happened. And then I did a breakthrough on that. I also then went back and said, there might have been a reason that I treated men a certain way in my life throughout my entire life, because I was scared, I was hurt, I was protective. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what, I let this go. It's now a year this month, and everything is different. My business is different. I'm different. My relationship with people are different, and everything's just changed. So for you, that memory is not really your first memory anymore. You're in a different place. Because here's the thing, guys, and I have this cool philosophy that memories aren't real. The decisions we make about them are real.
Yeah, right.
So what do you think it is?
God, I don't.
No, don't say I don't. Say I know.
I know. I know that I have a lot of them, but a lot of my memories that are like really like affect how I move were surrounded by like maybe like keeping quiet, like being like,
Just stop right there.
Yeah. The baby of 7. Yeah.
Okay, did you hear what she just said? Baby of 7, and you literally did this.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why speaking is a challenge for you. Getting out in front might be a challenge because this is your little girl believes that.
Yeah.
I forgot that you're the youngest of 7.
Yeah.
That's a tough position at some point to be heard in.
Oh, yeah. In order to get a word in. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you melt into the background.
We're going to do podcast part 2 because we're going to do a little something. Maybe not this weekend, but I think you and I are going to do this because I would love to see you see something completely different. I'd love your audience to go, oh my gosh, look at that. She let that one thing go, especially now as you're speaking, now that you're in front of this, you took a company public. How cool is this? And you're going to rise to your greatness. I've watched what happens as I've let go of layers like an onion.
Yeah.
You get more present, you get happier, you get more daring.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And life is just better.
And it's never too late, right? So
no.
I'm in my 50s, you're in your 60s. It's never too late. So I don't like hearing from people when they say, that ship sailed, it's too late. It's never too late because every day that you're here, you get to do something impactful. Every day you get to be more joyful and just your relationships change, everything about your way of being, even energy. Like that's a huge thing when you talk about. When you unpack that stuff and you let it go, like your energy around people is incredible. Yes. Like you become a magnet and people then feel relatable. They feel safe with you, right? And that's what happens with you. Like people feel safe with you because they know you've been there, you've gotten to the other side, and now you're like, hey, I'm not just keeping going. I'm going back because I want to take people with me. I want to help people get to the other side. And so it's never too late to get through that. And
well, here's how you know it's not too late. On Instagram, and if you want to DM me personally, I'll give this to you. There's 2 women who were one's in their 60s, one in their 70s. And I found them when I said I was going to do this bodybuilding competition, who started in their 60s and 70s. And they're parading around stage doing this. And I became friends with both of them. There are only 2, but talking about never too late. And then my other friend, you guys may recognize me from the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer.
Yeah.
I spent 8 years on that one show. Jack passed away a number of years ago, but his wife is 99 years old.
Can't believe it.
2 things that she gave me, I'm going to give to you guys. One, when I turned 60, I'm in her house and I'm feeling a little old because society says you are, right?
Yeah, yes.
When you're 20, 40 years old. And when you're 60, you're like, grandmother. I don't think I look like anybody's grandmother. Not yet.
No.
And Elaine said to me, she said, how old do I look on the cover of this book? And I said, Elaine, you're wearing a leotard and leg warmers. You look like you're 40. She said, I was 62. 60s were my best years. Don't screw them up. Okay. From God, I just heard, don't screw them up. And now she is 99 years old. She lives on her own. She laughs every day. We've just written another book together. I'm the forward in 2 of her books. She's the forward in one of my books. This woman has more life and more energy. A sense of joy. She moves every day. She'll tell you that her core is still really strong. She does plank push-ups. 99. So I guess it's whatever we decide it to be. And so people who tune in and listen to someone like you, who look at me and what I'm doing, you asked me in the very beginning what we wanted. What I want now is just to be that role model for myself, for my kids, and for everyone who comes in contact with me. Yeah. This is, wow, if she can do that, so can I.
Yeah. And it's important for people to be able to communicate that, right? So how would you say when you would recommend, how do you communicate with power when you're nervous, right? Because maybe you don't know what you want or you're still like living with all that baggage.
Yep.
So then you don't know if you're going to be perceived right. You're nervous about like, we all try not to, but too many people care about what other people think. So then you get nervous about communicating to get judged, so you stop. So how would you recommend people like communicate with power even when they're nervous?
Okay, well, let's get really serious. Can you learn to swim from a book? No, you can't learn to swim from a book. You got to get in the pool, you got to get wet. Right?
Yeah, you gotta swim.
No, but this is really important.
Yeah.
You never took a communication class like this. You never took the how do I get over, where's the self-esteem class that I didn't take? This is the biggest complaint, and the biggest thing people literally come to me with their hands like this going, help me, get confident. Well, confidence is not something I can sell you in the aisle of the grocery store.
Right.
But what you do is you seek out a mentor like me or someone like me who pushes you, because the joyous part of your life is on the other side of fear. If you're afraid, you're never going to get to that on your own. You're going to read that, I don't want to do it. I got to tell you, we're going to create an environment. I still teach every Sunday night live. And I'll give you guys a free link to that I show up every night except my birthday and Super Bowl Sunday for an hour and a half, 2 hours on Zoom. So people are all over the world doing exactly what you said. Pushing them, coaching them, getting them to pitch, getting them to fall in love with themselves and pushing past. And then, just like you do, you invest in you.
Yeah.
Just like you invest in the stock market or you invest in a new outfit, you invest in you. And that means, because I've done it too, you go to a beautiful self-help class, you take a breathing yoga class, you do something to make you feel better internally, because you got to shift your paradigm.
Yeah.
And I do not believe that you can do it on your own.
No, and they don't teach that in school or in college. And it's like the two things that will get you anywhere in life is if you have confidence and you can communicate.
I mean, I sat in a personal development class with, you know who? Oprah Winfrey. You know who else was in that class? Kim Kardashian.
They know how to communicate and they have the confidence.
Well, no, but here's the thing. You all think that it just magically shows up for certain people. We are all on a journey. Take advantage. Today, if you can't physically show up, you can show up on Zoom. You just took a class on Zoom. Do this. Take a portion of your income and your time and say, this is my personal development path. That no matter where you are, there is growth, there is baggage to let go of. I mean, every day I'm like going, I could probably work on that and let go of that limiting belief. Because I have a limiting belief about aging.
Yeah.
I have a limiting belief about wrinkles. I have a limiting belief about a lot of things. And it's funny, my daughter said this the other day. She's 22. She said, Mom, you're a little obsessed with like people's bodies, like weight and being pretty. I'm like, yeah, because my entire career, I was always told you have a pretty face, but if you could just get your body to, I'm like, and so how did that, and they're going, and you've got kids that young, they're growing up in a different kind of judgmental world.
Oh, they are.
In my world, if you were not perfect, you were not on the cover of Cosmopolitan or Sports Illustrated. Do you know, a couple of years ago, there was a woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated who was 70 pounds overweight in a bikini. And I looked at this and I'm like, I had my own wow. Mm-hmm. I'm walking through Macy's and I saw something that my mother would be blown away. I saw a fat mannequin. Can you imagine growing up to see a mannequin that wasn't like stick skinny?
Oh, yeah. It was perfect. Yeah.
You had to be perfect. You had to be 15 pounds underweight. And so I, as an actress, because I was all over television, I was always a little bit bigger. And I always got berated for it. I was on Broadway and I was told to go to Overeaters Anonymous. I was literally, so yes, am I obsessed about this? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But also don't judge me.
Yeah. Well, and also though, we all have different body structures and everything, but at the end of the day, like if you're not healthy, you can't get wealthy. You can't, to me, like you have to, if you can't get like a health routine in order to keep yourself healthy, it affects your mind, it affects your heart, it affects your passion, your way of being. Because if you don't feel good, how can you really be passionate? And so this leads me to something, my final question, because you and I could talk for hours. So how do you, you're so passionate, right? I'm so passionate. How would you tell the ladies listening, how do you take that passion and turn it into a profit, into a business with integrity and do it confidently without feeling ashamed? Because I know for me, like when people would ask me to coach them, I'm like, wait, so you need my help and you're going to pay me for it. Like, I feel bad, like asking you, like my time is worth something. Like, how would you guide people to how you've done it?
Wow. Okay, that will be podcast part 3. Well, and I'm not kidding. And we
will talk about that. So we're just going to get a piece.
Yeah, no. And I love the question. I think, number one, just decide what you want, who you want to be. I will share one of the coolest things about my life, I think, is that I really do see it like a rom-com. What kind of movie are you living in, do you think? Mm-hmm.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, with 5 kids, probably a drama, but maybe a comedy.
Okay.
And a love story for sure.
And a love
yeah.
story. It's about time that you write your own love story. When I wanted to fall in love for the second time, I wrote a list. And manifestation is real. Law of attraction is real. And you know how I know it? Because I've lived it.
Yeah.
And if you want to challenge me, do it.
Yeah.
You know what McKenna did? And she's watched me talk like this her whole life. This is my daughter. She wrote when she was about 14 years old in her Google Calendar, I will be a self-made millionaire by the time I'm 18. Put it on her birthday, 2000, whatever that was. She was born in 2002, and let it go. The morning of her birthday, she comes screaming downstairs. She's like, Mom, all the things that you talk about, it works. I'm like, what do you mean it works? She's like, look what it said. It said, I'll be a self-made millionaire. Well, when she was 17, we started a company. She ran it. It's because of her genius. We got a 2 Comma Club award, and she made $1 million before her birthday because she said she would.
Yeah.
Whew. When I was looking for the love of my life, I wrote down all the things that I wanted. Oh, absolutely. I didn't write down things I didn't want, but I was very particular. And then a girlfriend of mine, not unlike you, challenged me. And she said, in fact, somebody I met at our glamping trip, because I said her husband was kind of cute. She said, I put on my list, I wanted someone who looked like he walked off the cover of a romance novel. I said, can I borrow that? I want to put that at the top. I was 57 years old, and I want someone who looks like he walked off the cover of a romance novel.
So you work on yourself, you get the help you need with whether it's Forbes, myself, or whoever you need to give you that guidance to get yourself to the other side. Let go of the baggage, live with passion, and just let go of all that so that you can be your true, what you were meant to be. And then what do? You inspire other people, and that's how we change the world.
Yeah.
Right? So on that, thank you for joining us, Forbes. I love you. Thank you. And
love
join
you
us
too.
next time on Lead Her Forward.
Thank you guys so much.